Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and today we're going to be transplanting 3 roses that I have severely neglected, pretty much driven into their grave, and we're going to see if they can make it through the hottest part of the year. Okay, so this was definitely not my plan with my roses. Got super excited about roses, especially in January, bought several, and then I got distracted and totally forgot about them. And they are behind me, some of them, and they are in rough shape. They're struggling. Some of them I never even transplanted out of their nursery pots. A couple of them I transplanted last fall, but I'd forgotten to water and just completely neglected them. Watering has been the main thing that I've screwed up on with these roses. I've just forgotten to water them. So I do have places selected in the side garden for these roses. So I do want to be planting these 3 roses in the actual ground in the garden. And I think by doing that they'll have a better chance at life. Specifically, they'll be in the ground where their roots can stay more moist. They'll be set up to drip irrigation where they'll be better taken care of. They'll get more consistent weather because I won't be hauling them around to all the different places throughout my backyard and moving them out of my way as I'm working on other projects. The idea behind roses for me was a couple of different things. I really want to start creating some more structure in my garden, and I think rose bushes go a long way to do something like that. I also want to add more color and more lushness to my garden, and while I can definitely do that with a lot of blooms, there's something very unique to a rose. Roses just add this level of cottage garden that is just like none other, and I would really like to start doing that. And I've done some roses over the years, but what I've recently discovered, specifically based off my Don Juan rose and my America rose, is once those roses were in the ground, they did a million times better for me. And I think that's because I'm an absent-minded rose gardener. Don't pay enough attention to them. And having them in containers, I feel like they have to be fertilized more often. I have to really be paying more attention regarding their watering, and I just don't do that. And that's just the reality of who I am as a gardener. So instead of trying to fight that, I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet, and we're going to get these roses planted today. Now let's talk about where we are. We are on the side garden of the house. So this faces west, gets crazy sun. The entire garden is set up for drip irrigation, and I will have drip irrigation set up to the base of all of these roses that I'm installing. Now some of these roses are going to get straight on sun. Some of them are going to get a little bit of shade from existing trees and structures in the garden. I think a couple of things that are going to work really well is all the roots are going to be shaded on these roses. They're further towards the back in the garden, and they have lower perennials in front of them, which I think is going to go a long way to helping preserve and keep them moist during the hottest times of the year. They're also going to be set up in locations where they're going to have pretty good air circulation, and I think that's based on the size of the rose. I'm not putting a shorter rose in these holes towards the back of a garden. These are taller shrub roses. Now, my husband already pre-dug these holes, and I have a significant amount of clay in this portion of the garden. So he already pre-dug and removed the clay for me, which is the hardest part of the job. So I'm very grateful that that's done. I'm going to be backfilling with compost and rose tone, and I really want to create a really good soil that's nice and nutrient based for the roses, and also something that will help break down the surrounding clay over time. Now, ideally, I would not be transplanting at this time of the year. You definitely want to transplant before the hottest time of the year or before the coldest time of the year. This is not ideal, but this is what I need to do because this is what works with my schedule. And these roses, they're not doing so great in their containers from neglect anyway, so let's just go ahead and get them in the garden. It can only go better at this point. Now, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things regarding pruning when transplanting a rose, and then I'm also going to be very careful to transfer as much of the soil as possible in these containers. I don't want to disturb the roots very much if I don't have to. That will be the goal with that. But let me go ahead and show you. We'll go ahead and start with the first location. It's going to be an At Last rose, and let's just go ahead and go rose by rose through the garden, get them planted, and then we'll talk about what it's all going to look like in the future. Okay, first let's take a minute to enjoy some of this awesomeness in the garden over here. We still have some petunias over here doing okay, which would be pretty. This is actually a Caryopteris that's really starting to put on a lot of growth. Hopefully you'll put on some blooms. Still have a few glads hanging on here. This is one of those planters that I did the other day that also fell over. It's starting to fill out. Looks like we have some blooms on my Helen von Stein lamb's ear. Very pretty. Got a few phlox back here. Gorgeous. Look at that autumn joy. I think this one's autumn fire. Sedum. Got another Caryopteris right there, really putting on a lot of growth. These are super duper double something Paradiso super duper echinacea that I grew from seed. Really pretty. It's one of the planters. This is one of the planters that I had started the other day, but unfortunately when I had some workmen here working on the French drain, they turned off my sprinklers, my drip lines when they were using my faucet or my hose. I can't even really talk about it because it's super upsetting. But you can see like I had a lot of dead growth come in, but I do have new blooms coming over the top. So it's filling in, but starting to fill back in nicely. And then I have this beautiful additional Helen von Stein lamb's ear filling in beautifully. And then this is where the double bridal spirea is, and then over to the Ruby Falls weeping red bud. And this right here, that hole right there, is where we're going to be putting an At Last rose. Let me stand back a little bit so you guys can see it. And I'm going to put a picture up so you can kind of see what that's going to be right there. Okay, the At Last rose is by Proven Winners. It's known for being very disease resistant, long blooming, has orange kind of apricot blooms. It gets about 3 foot by 3 foot, so it should fill up right at the edge of this container and fill in this space really nicely. It will take 2 to 3 years to get to that point. And I think it'll go really, really well. I think that apricot color will be really pretty, especially with, it's hard to see because I cut so many of them back. You have that Meteor Showers Verbena in here, and we've got the purple of the butterfly bush, and then the Caryopteris right here is a pale pink. And I think that'll just look really nice in this location over the years. So let's go ahead and pull that out and get started. Okay, so I've got this At Last rose in a container, which I just didn't water, forgot, truthfully. And truthfully, it's not in very good shape. And then I need to transplant it. So this is going to be different for anybody who's, everybody has so many different philosophies regarding roses. One of the things, since these are in rough shape, I don't want to transplant this rose and have it deal with all of this, continue dealing with all this. So one of the first things I'm going to do is we're going to cut this rose back by about half so that I can allow it to just kind of focus less on the foliage and stems that it currently has and more on putting down really good quality roots. So we're just going to go in here. We're going to do a little bit of trimming in a few places. I've got my rose gloves on that my mother-in-law gave to me. And we're just going to go ahead and take this down a good amount. And what this will do is allow the rose to really kind of just refocus on growing roots, strong, healthy roots. Also kind of remove anything that's like brown and dead looking. And everything we have left is green, and everything looks really, really nice. So now at this point, I want to remove it from the container and I want to put it into the hole. Now, I believe my husband dug these holes a little bit deeper than the actual containers. I don't want these to sit below their current soil level. I want them to sit up just a touch higher than the soil level in the garden. So I'm going to go ahead and start by adding in some compost and some rose tone at the base of the hole. So my favorite compost is called Vital Earth Compost. I get it from Homegrown in Farmersville. I always have the worst time getting the bags open. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and add some of that at the base, just like that. And then I'm also going to add in some rose tone as well, just like that. And you can see my drip lines running to the base of this, which will work really, really good. I think there's an emitter right there. Now, this rose has not been in this soil for very long. So I can't imagine that its root system is overly large. So I'm just using a giant fork to kind of dig in, kind of start prying my way upwards. Because I want to do minimal disturbance to the roots, if I can. I might just lay this on its side. And here comes the rose. All right. So we've got the root ball very well intact. Just going to put it right down into the hole like that. And we're going to backfill with the remaining soil from the container. Just like that. Sweet. Kind of excited. Okay, I'm not going to water it just yet. I think I'll get some other ones done and then come back and give them all a really nice watering. We are expecting quite a bit of rain over the next few days. So I think that'll work well. Just imagining it right there in that location. I think that'll look really good. Hey, it's better than what it's doing now, right, y'all? I think that's most important as I messed up. So I'm seeing what I can do to correct my issue. Okay, we are back here by the back gate. This is a smoke tree. Oh, and for those of y'all who have been following along with the saga of the smoke tree, it repositioned itself correctly, leaning backwards again. So very exciting. It's doing really good. It's putting off fresh new growth, which is exciting. Okay, back here in the corner, you're gonna see a lot of dead stuff. Those are all candy tuft, or Iberis, and they've gone dormant for the summer. They do not grow in the summer. They're more of late winter, early spring blooms. I've also got a couple of Cleome, which have not done well, so I'm going to cut those back right there. But right here in this hole under this trellis, we are going to plant a Belinda's Dream. And a Belinda's Dream does wonderful in the North Texas area. It is a pink double bloom, about 4 inches across, and the petals typically have at least 40 plus petal count, so lots of pretty petals. Has a fruity raspberry scent. It tends to be about 5 foot tall by 3 to 4 foot wide, so I think it'll fit beautifully into this location. I'm going to remove the trellis for now, but we're going to put the trellis back, and I'm hoping that it will trellis through there and really kind of add this like beautiful architectural element here. So let's go ahead and go through the same process and see what that ends up looking like. Okay, let me just walk y'all through this area though, because let's talk about how beautiful this area is. Now, in the past I had the Golden Falls Weeping Redbud. Right now I've got my Bougainvillea tree that's just doing not very good. But let's walk this direction. We have the cat's Meow Nepeta blooming beautifully right in front of this orange rocket barberry. Just put on a ton of growth. It's doubled in size this year. These are my Powwow Wildberry coneflowers. Love them. Powwows are my favorite variety of coneflowers to grow. Got some zinnias tucked in here. We've also got some verbena tucked in here. This right here is my kaleidoscope abelia, which is starting to put off a few little blooms. Super pretty. And even though my irises are done, look how much contrast that blue-green foliage adds to that space. Looks really, really nice. Across the front of here, we have some salvia. I think it's called Pink Sunday, right there in front. Some more bearded iris. This is an echinopsis called Retro. This is a perennial in my area. This is its second year. Last year it gave me one stem. It looks like we have 2 or 3 stems now. How fun is that? Aren't those pretty? Across the front, all throughout here, this is one plant. So this is a Windwalker red salvia. See this? And the base of the plant is right back there. This guy has walked at least 5 feet forward, and that's it's very windswept, and it kind of weaves through areas. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It's perfect for this location. Absolutely love it. And then right there is where the Golden Falls Weeping Redbud was. Got a bunch of gladiolas that are finishing up there. We have the bubblegum double scoop echinacea coneflowers, beautiful. Have lots of the chocolate cosmos filling in, absolutely gorgeous. Right here, this is a red riding hood phlox. Now don't let the name red fool you. It is neon red, bright, bright, bright red. Absolutely beautiful, fun punch of color. Look at that color. Just beautiful. Bunch of bearded iris here. One of the containers, now it did get off a drip for a couple of days, but it's looking okay. Starting to fill in beautifully. Looks like we have a calla lily coming up there. Exciting. Over here, there's a lot of weeds going on, but there's other good stuff. So this is my bluebird asters. This is its second year. This is the purple echinacea, purple coneflower that has started from root, and say it's over 2 feet tall now. Looking really good. This is blue balloon flower. Over here is thistle. This is blue thistle. I can't remember the exact name. I'll have to put it down below. That I grew from root, bare root. They're doing good. And then going on this direction. I'm going to put a rose in there too. That's going to be a different video. We're going to pot up some more additional roses. And then where this guy is, the, what do you call it? I can't speak. Bougainvillea tree is not doing very good. It's very unhappy. It is starting to put out some new fresh growth. I don't know. We'll see. It's very unhappy. I haven't planted it, but right there is actually where I want to put or actually right here is where I want to put a container with an additional rose in it. So we'll look at that at another video. But for now, we're going to be adding a rose right back there. Now, I have drip falling into that container, a lot of drip falling right into that area. So I'm going to be cutting back and reducing the amount of drip that goes in there because you can see the water in there. So I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to plant this up. Okay, we have multiple drip lines coming across. These were the original drip lines, right? And then I added additional drip lines right here at a later point in time when I was putting more plants across the back. Right now we have 1, 2, 3 emitters going to this hole. Way too much, all right? What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut off right here, this emitter right there, and I'm going to put in a goof plug to tie off this line. So now that will not put any more water off right there. And then I'm going to follow this down. Here's the one emitter, here's the second emitter. I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to put an additional goof plug. Now, this line right here connects to another one of these big things, so it's not like I'm cutting off all water supply to it. It connects to another location. But I'm just, oh no. I'm just putting in a goof plug, and now we've gone from 3 emitters going into here, which obviously this has a lot of clay. and it's retaining water. Now we've gone to one emitter, which I think will be better in the long run. Okay, so right here in this area is where we're going to put the rose. It's called an Earth Angel Floribunda variety, exceptionally fragrant. It has peony-shaped blooms, which are gorgeous, and a bright glossy green foliage. And the pinks are the balloons are what they call a cream to pink bloom, so they have a wide variety, and it's about 5 feet tall by 4 feet wide. So it will fill in this space very nicely. So let's go ahead and get that trimmed back and then get that into place. Okay, if you can, just envision that Earth Angel rose right there in that space. It'll be really pretty. Eventually I think I am going to go with the blue-green evergreen here. Have a lot of beautiful color in this space. Okay, let's get these watered in and then we'll chat. All right, and I'm going to put this on the heavier stream like this, so I can really kind of work around the edge and help settle the soil and get rid of any air bubbles, things like that. And you can see that over time, the Landseer will shade these roots. The roses, they like the heat. And I definitely am going to be out here the next few days watering these, making sure that they're good to go, unless we have an inordinate amount of rain, which I wouldn't be surprised if we did. I think these roses are going to be a lot happier. I didn't mess too bad with their root structures, so now ordinarily you wouldn't want to get the foliage wet, but we're in the heat of the day now. Today's been overcast except for the last 30 minutes. The sun's out, so I'm worn out. Okay, glad I got it done. Do I wish I had taken better care of my roses early in the year? Absolutely. Am I surprised that I killed a few things, forgot about some things? No, I'm not surprised. I like to do a lot of stuff in the garden, and while I write a lot of things down, I forget a lot of things and I get distracted, and it just is what it is. So I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm just going to see what I can do to help these survive. I think they're going to be okay. Do I think they're going to grow a ton this year and give me beautiful blooms? No, I don't think that at all. Do I hope that they build root structures under the ground so that maybe next year or the year after they do better? Yes, that is my ultimate goal in this particular circumstance. So I definitely should have thought about it earlier, should have dealt with it early, but it is what it is. They're in the ground, ready to go. They'll be regularly watered on the drip system. I don't have to rely on myself to remember to water them. That ended up being the biggest issue that I had with these containers, because I didn't have a designated space for my containers yet, so I did not have them set up on drip. So problem solved now. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's getting hot. I need to get inside, get out of the sun. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.